welcome to Simple SQL. Today we're going to be talking about joins. If you don't have it open, open Management Studio, connect to your local instance of SQL Server, and open a new query window. In that query window, switch to the database that you've been learning in. For me, that's Simple SQL, and run that. If you're continuing on from a previous video, you may want to refresh your database because we created some new objects last time. Let's right-click our database, click Refresh, and now look inside it and see the tables that we have. The two tables that we're going to be looking at for this video are our cars and our insurance tables. Let's look at the columns that we have, and remember that we made a foreign key relationship on the VIN number. The VIN number is a primary key in our cars table and a foreign key in our insurance table, which means that the VIN number in our insurance table references a specific car. Okay, so how do we use this and what does it mean? You'll recall that select star means return all columns from, and we provide a table name, and in this case we're going to say insurance. There's a thing called a table alias. After you type a table's name into a query, you can use a shortened version of that name to reference it later. In this case, I'm going to use the letter I because I like to use the first letter of the table name, or for longer table names, multiple letters. This is mostly personal preference, but I find it much easier. So we're going to say select star from insurance I, and we'll see that this works if we just go ahead and run it. And we get back our two insurance policies, one which references a car and one that does not. Now on the next line we're going to type inner join. An inner join returns all rows in which the two tables in that join match. So what we do is we say inner join, we provide our second table name, so we'll say cars, and we're going to alias that as C, and then we give it an on parameter. So we'll say inner join cars on c.vin equals i.vin. So what we've done there is say when the VIN column in our cars table is equal to the VIN column in our insurance table, the rows are considered to match. What we're going to expect back here, because it only provides rows when there's a match in both tables, is we should get one row back because this second row of our insurance table doesn't match anything. Let's go ahead and run this, and we see we get one row back because the VIN number matched there. What if we wanted all of our insurance policies back and the car when it exists? If we want to do that, instead of an inner join, we would use what's called a left join. So let's say select star from insurance left join cars. What a left join means is return all elements from the left-hand item and all of the elements in the right-hand item when it matches. And that doesn't quite make as much sense with the way I typically format this, but if I were to put it on the same line, it becomes more apparent. You can see insurance is on the left, cars is on the right, so return everything in the left-hand table and everything in the right-hand table when it has a match. So if we run just this, remember we can select and execute. We now get back both of our insurance policies, and we get back the car where it has a match. In addition to the left join, there's also a right join. So if we grab this same query, we're going to change left to right and run that. And what should happen in a right join is everything in the right hand table is returned and everything in the left hand table is returned if there's a match. So in this case, we have two cars in our cars table. One of them has an insurance policy, one does not. So we should expect to see both of the cars and the insurance where it exists. And that's exactly what we get. We get the car with no insurance policy in our first row here. And we get the car that does have an insurance policy in our second row. And you'll notice we did not get the insurance policy that doesn't apply to a car because we're only showing things where there is a valid entry in the cars table with our right join. Another type of join that we can do is called a full outer join. And in a full outer join, we should see everything in both tables on the same row when they match. So let's go ahead and grab this again. And instead of a left, right, or inner join, we're going to say full outer join. And let's go ahead and run that. And you can see now that the car that has an insurance policy has its insurance policy on the same line. The insurance policy that's not on a car has no car there. And the car with no insurance policy is also shown without that. One last type of join that we want to look at is called the cross join. A cross join is a join that does not have an on clause with it. It's a little bit different. What a cross join is for is to match every row in one table with every row in another table. This isn't a join that we would normally make with our cars and insurance here because it doesn't really make sense to match them up that way. The output of this join is what's known as a Cartesian product. A common application of a Cartesian product would be for a coordinate system. So your latitude and longitude, every latitude intersects with every longitude intersects with every latitude. Like I said, it doesn't really apply to these tables, but I want to go ahead and show you how it works. So we'll say select star from insurance, cross join cars. And you'll notice I don't have an on clause. Instead, I just have the tables because it's not matching on a specific column. It's just pairing every row in one table against every row in the other table. And you can see we've got our first insurance. Remember, this is our primary key, so that's what we can use to identify it. We've got our first insurance row and our second insurance row, and they both appear 2 times because we've got our first car and our second car. So what we did was we paired each of our 2 car entries with each of our 2 insurance entries. And again, it doesn't make sense in this case because the insurance applies to a specific car, but I want you to be aware of this join type. These 5 joins are all that we're going to cover today. On the next episode, we're going to look at scalar functions and grouping. Thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you later.